Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Hello there. Welcome to 30 Days of Thanks Live with Trueheart Speaks. I am Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, and I speak life mentor, helping successful yet busy and overwhelmed women get out of their way and get to the business of living. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Chantrice. How are y'all? Good evening. And so I am helping successful and busy and overwhelmed women get out of their own way and get to the business of living so that they can do life well. And the way we do that is helping you to get unstuck so that you can get started. And so for this entire month of November, we are here every single Monday through Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Fridays at noon Eastern Standard Time, reading from the infamous 30 Days of Thanks. And hey, Kimbe, how are you? Hey, everybody on Facebook, Periscope, and Instagram. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And so I know I am in competition with some of our favorite shows that are on, but I would challenge you to reprioritize just a little bit, only because I believe, hey there, how are you? I believe that if we commit this time to him, right, that he will do some stuff for us, right? And so it doesn't mean that you can't commit other time, right? Doesn't mean that, but sometimes we have to make the sacrifice, and sometimes the sacrifice is sacrificing our shows, for ourselves and to pour into ourselves and to refill and to refuel, to recharge, all that juicy stuff. So how is everybody this evening? I am sharing, I'm doing my due diligence. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what's going to happen today with Facebook shut off on us yesterday, but we're here with Instagram and with Periscope. So if they shut off, I will share that video. We were able to get through the prayer, but for whatever reason, Facebook was really trying to act shady with us last night. So, hey, everybody, I'm going to share right now. If you're on Periscope right here, swipe right on the phone, swipe right on the iPhone, swipe up on the Android, and share, trying to hang in there. I know that's right. I talked to my husband a little earlier, and he was like, you sound tired. And I said, I am. And he was like, oh yeah, you're going to be going to bed soon. I said, no. I said, I got to go live. He said, oh, I forgot. That is right. Because I'm normally not on at this time. It's normally early in the morning, right? So let me share. And in the meantime, y'all, I'm going to give y'all a couple of minutes to join in. And we're going to get started. Hey, everybody. Lots of juiciness happening today. So we'll see how many of you, real transparent moment. I'm looking for the next level of greatness. Who's with me? Tired of being tired. I'm with you. I'm so with you, Tiffany. And so if you all have comments, I'm pulling this up so I can make sure I can see all of the comments. Because they're not popping up over here, but they're popping up over here. So I see all of you popping in. I just can't see you. Yes, I'm totally with you. Totally with you. Looking for the next level of greatness, right? And so I think part of that is the work that we're doing now. We're getting quiet. We're allowing God to make those divine deposits. But here's the thing that I think, and this is totally off topic, but I think we've got to do the work. There's some work that we've got to do. And I shared a message a couple of weeks ago at a conference, and it talked about, the theme was I'm next. And the idea behind this is that for some of us, and this may not necessarily relate to you, Tiffany, but there's us in general. When I say us, is that a lot of times we have this thought that, okay, I'm next, I want to be next, but what it takes in order for us to be next and the work that it takes in order for us to get to that level of greatness, we don't necessarily want to put the work in. We don't necessarily want to make the sacrifices. And so sometimes if that means cutting off our favorite shows, if that means not going to our favorite places, if that means not doing some of our favorite things, so that we can make some sacrifices and do some things that would allow us to get to that next level of greatness. I think that sometimes we have to recognize that there is a next level of work, that there is a next level of discipline, that there is a next level of sacrifice that goes with that next level of greatness. And part of that is, to some extent, while we're in this level, being grateful and thankful for this level, so that when we get to that next level, we can be even more grateful, right? And so you just sparked something in me, Tiffany, because I'm totally with you. And it's so interesting because one of my words, I have a word every year for 2017, 2018. And so like last year, my word was intentional. This year, my word was simplicity. And it's interesting how God gave me that word, and I didn't know that I would need that. As in hindsight, looking back and thinking about like all of the stuff that I'm doing, like simplicity was what I needed in order to maintain myself for this year. But my word that for 2018 is dominate. My word for 2018 is dominate. Dominate and collaborate. And I am tired of being tired, right? Tired of playing small, tired of feeling like I have to, somewhat maybe dim my light because other people are not necessarily comfortable with the bright shining of the light that I have. And that's not always the case, but some of it is just I'm tired of playing small when I feel like I have to sometimes, and I'm not playing small anymore. And so if by some chance folks don't like the channel, if they don't like what they see, they need to change the channel, because guess what? I'm looking to dominate in 2018. And if you're looking to dominate in 2018, there's some work that we got to do in 2017. For these last, we've got less than 60 days left in this year. Hey, Sharon, how are you, love? Hey, everybody who's joining. I can't see you. And so I can't really see who's live, but I can see that there are people live. And so I see you kind of when you share and all that kind of stuff. And so good evening, everybody on Facebook, Periscope, and Instagram. Welcome to 30 Days of Thanks Live with Trueheart Speaks. I am Detra Trueheart, your life purpose generator, purpose provoker, and I Speak Life mentor. And so, again, you just sparked something in me, and I'm super excited about that because I wrote this. I don't even know when I wrote it, but it's literally here just as evidence, so you all can see that. Y'all see that? Dominate, collaborate, devour, and expand. So just so you can see that, like you see that right there? I didn't write that. That's there. Dominate, collaborate, devour, and expand. Those are my words. And the first two words were domination and collaboration. And I'm just, like, real talk. Just, so, oh, I see my god sister. I don't know if she's watching, but I see she has liked. So I'm checking out likes here because, again, y'all know Facebook is acting a little shady with me. So I can't see. I'm looking just to see if I can see comments and everything. And so I'm going to share again because I just shared on my personal page. There it is. Yes, dominate. I'm next. Love it. I'm good. Just thinking over how over these last few days, all these things we're discussing have pertained to me in so many ways. It's like, geez, how did she know to talk about that? Is she talking about me? You know what, Chantrice? It's so awesome. I love that kind of stuff because that tells me, and now mind you, the book has already been written, but it tells me that, that God is in it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm just ready to dominate, because I know that what I'm doing, God is in it. I know that what I'm doing, God is here. I know that what I'm doing, I know. And so I'm not necessarily, playing small anymore. I'm just not trying to do that. And so I'm just not, I'm not, you know what I mean? So I see y'all popping in. I see you all liking and watching. And so as the comments come in, I just have to keep refreshing. I don't know why. I think I don't even know. I wonder if this is plugged in. I think it is plugged in. Let me just make sure. Yeah, it's plugged in. So, hey there, Dolores. How are you, love? Thank you for retweeting. I need to share as well. We're already having good conversation, y'all. Totally having good conversation. And so, if you all want to just double tap the screen and give some hearts as we get started and as we work this thing out. Hey, Janice. Hey, everybody. I see people liking, loving and liking the page. I see people joining in. And again, I can't really see you all, but that's all right. You can just, if you want to, say hello to me so I know who you are. We're reading from day 9 of provision. Today is being thanks for provision. So give me a couple of seconds. And maybe you can hear my song in the background. It's one of my favorite songs. It's Mona Lisa, Masterpiece. By Jasmine Sullivan. I don't have rights to the music, but But I absolutely love this song. And ever since we went to the concert last week, I have been loving sharing it. I mean, just listening to it and sharing it, and ever since I heard it. I think a few years ago she sang it, I think at a Black Girls Rock concert event, and it hadn't even come out yet. Like, she had sang it like right there, and I've loved it ever since. And so at any rate, if Facebook will cooperate with us, as soon as I get finished sharing to all of my my pages, we will get this party started. Yeah, that's my jam. Okay. Yes, and I finally see I'm a work of art. I'm a masterpiece. I'm telling you, I'm about to dominate in 2018. I just, hey Scoper 007, hey everybody. I'm a work of art. I'm a masterpiece. And it's one of those things, like, when you just really like step into it, there is no apologizing. There is none of that, right? There is like none of that. And so this thing keeps slipping and falling, so I'm like trying to adjust it so that it's like not falling. But yeah, I'm just super excited. So let me make sure we're good, and we're gonna get started. I have both of my babies here today. So the furry one is on this side, and then the baby is back here. He has no school tomorrow, so he's hanging tight with mommy. It says, I just want you to know that you're such an encouragement this year before it ends. I'm gonna commit fully. I've been watching by the sidelines. Girl, listen, whenever it's your time, you know what I mean? I have to keep refreshing, because for whatever reason the video is not showing the comments, which is fine. But listen, whenever you decide to, and this is for everybody, so you know, timing is everything. And so whenever you decide to fully commit is when you decide to fully commit. Don't rush the process, because there may be some things that God is doing in you that you may not necessarily need to rush the process. Remember, since the very beginning, Tiffany, we've been talking about slow and steady. And so it's literally your process is your process. And so if you're feeling that urge to go all in, then go all in. But don't rush the process. Don't, embrace the process. And that's for everybody. Our time is our time. Our race is our race. We're not in comparison and in competition with anybody else. And so whenever you decide is when it will be. And it doesn't necessarily have to be at the end of this year. It doesn't necessarily have to be next year. It's whenever you want. You know what I'm saying? And so I want us to feel okay with sitting on the sidelines. If there's some internal work that we need to do, some external work that we need to do. Sometimes there's some work that needs to be done before we get up on that stage. There's some preparation that has to happen. And so I want you to know I'm glad that I can encourage you and I can push you and I can do what it takes in order to help you to get to that next level. But let me tell you, I want you to be ready. I don't want you to prematurely hatch. I don't want you to prematurely give birth. I don't want you to prematurely get to a place where you are like the butterfly who somebody cuts the cocoon before it's time. And so now you look beautiful, but you can't fly. My God, that was so good. You look good, but you can't fly. And so I want you to get to a place where you are fully developed, fully recharged, fully refueled in that cocoon, so that when you spread those wings, baby, listen, and you take off and fly, there is nothing but you that can stop you. Y'all know, I was sleepy. I'm just gonna tell you, I was sleepy. I was so sleepy. I was holding like my eyes open. I'm like, Lord, if you just keep me where I can read. And then that Tiffany just said something and it sparked something. And so let me just tell y'all, God is ready when you are. God is ready when you are. And the other part is you going, yes, go through the process. Go through the process. Don't let nobody punk you, intimidate you, and make you feel bad about the process that you're going through, because we all have to go through a process. And sometimes we prematurely launch, realizing that we're not ready, and then we got to pull back. And so I come against that spirit of shame that would make you feel bad about some decisions that you have made, and you prematurely launched when you weren't supposed to. You were listening to folks that you shouldn't have been listening to. And so, you know, my prayer is that you will get quiet, that we will all get quiet, that I will continue to get quiet, because sometimes life gets busy for me. And so while I'm teaching y'all to get quiet, I don't always get quiet when I'm supposed to get quiet, because I spend a lot of time worrying about y'all and making sure you have what you have. And so sometimes I have to pull back and I have to say, okay, Lord, it's time for me to get quiet. It's time for me to read my own book. It's time for me to take my own medicine. It's time for me to walk my own talk. And so we're all doing that. You know what I'm saying? And so I love y'all. I love y'all. Y'all be encouraged. Like, we gonna get through this thing together. As I rise, you rise. As you rise, I rise. It don't matter who get there first. Just lift as you climb, right? Don't matter who gets there first. Just lift as you climb. Like, point blank, period. Right? So if you have not shared this, go on ahead and share it. We're gonna open up with day 9 of provision and get this party started. Let me see here. All right. Yes. All right. So let me put this here. All right. So we're good to go. So let's start. I'm going to refresh this again just to make sure we're good. And make sure those of you who are here are still here, because I know yesterday Facebook was really trying to be a little shady. Okay, good. We're here. All right. So we're talking about provision. So we're on day 9, provision. Put your hope in God who richly provides us with everything. That's 1 Timothy 6 and 17. Put your hope in God who richly provides us with everything. Be thankful for provision. It says, on this day, we will take time to give thanks. Hey, Melina. On this day, we will take time to give thanks for the provision that God has given us. It is said that when God gives a vision, he gives provision. However, do we really know what provision is? I wonder if we really are able to grasp what that really means. When someone says they are going to provide for you and make provision for you, it simply means I got this and I got you. It also means that you need not worry about how it is going to happen. Oh, thank you, Pooh. You just need to trust that it will happen. So I'm going to say that again. It's a real transparent moment. Oh, I'm looking at these comments here. Did this just stop again? Or where am I? Did I share this? Y'all on Facebook, did it just stop on me? Facebook is totally, I'm getting ready to, it looks like it's there. Okay. All right. It still looks like, I don't know if you all are there or not. So if y'all are there, can y'all just say something so I can see stuff popping up? But I'm going to keep going on the other one. Just so, okay, I see some hearts popping. All right. So it says, so let me just go back for a quick second, because this was a really good opener and I got distracted. Okay, thank you. It says, I wonder if we really are able to grasp what that means. When someone says they are going to provide for you or make provision for you, it simply means I got this and I got you. It also means that you need not worry about how it is going to happen. You just need to trust that it will happen. And so this is so crazy, because it really is a, hey there, this really is kind of like a continuation of the conversation that we just had, right? It means, so when we talk about provision and being thankful for provision, it means that we don't have to worry about how it's going to happen. We don't have to worry about the how. We just need to trust that it will happen, right? We do our part and then let God do his part. So that's not part of the book. That's my little ad-libbing, and that's the best part about the virtual reading, because you get me when we read. And there's, hey, everybody on Instagram, Facebook, and Periscope. Good evening. Welcome to day 9, provision of 30 Days of Thanks Live with Trueheart Speaks. That will be me. Can you get excited that God is that kind of God that you can trust him to dot all the I's and cross all the T's? You can trust him to fill in every hole and seal every crack. When we talk about provision in the sense of the God we serve, there is no question about it, because he covers all bases. Now, I want you to realize that even though he covers all bases, how it's done and when it's done may not always make sense or happen within the time frame that you expect. Philippians 4:19 says, but my God shall supply all of your need according to his riches and glory. So when I read and meditated on this passage, my understanding of it is that God's provision is based on his riches and glory, not what we think it is. So you may be asking, what exactly does that mean? Well, to me, it means that everything you have need of, God has already prepared in the heavenly for you, but it will show up in the natural state at the right time, or in God's time. I will say that again with some added emphasis in simpler terms. everything that you will ever have need of, God has already provided. How juicy is that? Provision has already been granted, and take a few minutes to let that sink in. Yes, I know that's a big one because some of us are thinking of provision in terms of our basic and minimal needs. Not so. God's provision covers the gamut of everything you will need to be who he called you to be and to fulfill your divine assignment. It has already been provided and it has already been laid out. Yes, you've got it. It's just waiting for you to arrive. Take a moment to say thank you. Give thanks for having the privilege to serve an awesome God who knows what you have need of even before you ask. Give thanks unto God for loving you enough to establish and provide your supply when he knew you before the foundations of the world. Thank him for what he has already provided and what is still to come. Thank him with a mind-blowing spirit of expectation, because you know that your need has already been supplied and that in spite of you, God continues to bless you. Are y'all there? How juicy was that? Like, super juicy. Now, before you get too excited, in order to obtain the provision that God has set aside for you, there is one condition: obedience to him and obedience to his word. Yes, obedience is key. If you remember from a previous day of thanks, we talked about Genesis 12:1-3, where God told Abram to do a few things, and if he did those few things, he would bless him immensely. Well, the same goes for you. So long as you do what God asks, then the provision is yours. Now, keep in mind that you aren't expected to be perfect. None of us are. But all God asks is that you be willing and able, because Abram was willing and he was able, but he was also obedient. How good was that? Right? Powerful, right to the, literally right to the point. But understanding that we're thanking God for provision, thanking God that God has already provided, that not only has he provided what we have, but he has provided with what we will need, what we will want. He has already provided it. And so for some of us, we get discouraged because what we want, or what we see in our minds, what we see in the vision hasn't manifested yet. But there's that saying that when God gives vision, he gives provision. And so before the provision arrives, let's give thanks for it ahead of time. And so here's a journal assignment. It says, during this journal assignment, I want you to really process what it means to you to know that God has already laid it out for you. What does it mean to know that God is saying to you, stop worrying, I got this and I got you? What does it mean to know that although you aren't sure of where you are going or even where you will end up, God knows? But here's the kicker. Not only does he know, he's already provided what you will need to get there and to stay there. The other piece that the Holy Spirit gave me is, what would it mean to you to know that if you allow God to direct your path and order your steps, the provision that he has laid out will not just be for you, but for your children and your children's children. You do know that provision means that there will be enough for you and for those who come after you. How awesome is that? Like, that right there is like, y'all should be hearting it up. Lastly, what is it that has been tugging away at you that you know God has been asking you to do that you have shied away from or just ignored for whatever reason? Write it down and speak to God in your journal about why you haven't moved yet. I then want you to write down just 3 things you can immediately do to get you going. That is the journal assignment for today. How awesome is that? Any thoughts about what you just heard in the couple of minutes that I just kind of literally threw it at you? Super good, right? Like, super awesome, super juicy, like, just good. I'm trying to make sure we're good here. Okay. All right. So good. I can see your comments, I think. All right. How super awesome is that, right? To know that God has already provided it. And we get so worried and caught up in the details that sometimes we don't launch because we can't see what God sees and we don't know what God knows. And so here's a prayer for today. It says, Heavenly Father, we come to you today saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We give thanks unto you for provision. Thank you for knowing what we have need of before we know it and then providing it. We give thanks unto you for ordering our steps and for directing our path. Lord, we thank you for providing when you didn't have to. We thank you for loving us enough to supply the kind of provision that will not only sustain us, but it will also sustain our children and their children. most important, we thank you because it is already laid out for us to lay hold of when the time is right, so long as we follow your plan for our lives. Lord, on this 9th day of thanks, we give you honor, glory, and praise for the wonderful things that you have done and will continue to do, and for being an awesome God. Amen. So today was short and powerful. Most of the days are short and powerful. I just had been kind of carried away the last couple of days. But trust that God has you, and trust that God's got you, right? Where God says, I got you and I got this. God has you and he has it. And so even though it may not seem like it, maybe he might seem late, maybe he might be seeming a little slow, maybe he doesn't seem at all. But trust that things are working out not only for your good, but for your benefit, for your best interest, all of that. Are y'all with me? So how was today's day of thanks? I'm totally not going to keep y'all late tonight. I can't really see anybody, so I don't know if you all are talking to me or not. You want to go put that in the garbage? Okay, let me see here.
You finished?
I think so. I don't know where anybody is, so I see the hearts. Okay. Juicy. Okay, so I saw Sharon's comment. All right.
Are you guys over or no?
Well, they can't answer you. All right, I see y'all. I see the hearts. It's weird, but that's the only thing about being live with technology is you never know. You know, you just kind of have to go forward and you have to kind of make it work. But I never know if y'all, like, sometimes it just goes out. And so, yeah, so I'm live.
What does that say?
I don't know, but can you go sit down so I can finish? I'll be done in a minute. So don't forget, tomorrow we are live at 12 noon, not 10 p.m. 12 noon, not 10 p.m. So if you can join me for your lunch break, please do that. And if not, you can always catch the recording. But I will say for today, please make sure you share today's message. Make sure that you, as you go to sleep, be reminded that God has, he's got you, that God has not forgotten about you, that you are being provided for, that provision, has already been laid out. And the interesting thing is that when we talk about provision, for some of us, you know, we get caught up in situations where, you know, things are tight, right? It's tight, but it's right. And you don't necessarily know how you're going to make it. You don't know how you're going to make it through, but God continues to provide, continues to open doors, continues to grant favor, continues to help make sure that the bills are paid, even if the bills is paid a little late, that he makes sure that you are taken care of. And so on tonight, when you go to bed and you take some time to write in your journal, you take some time to meditate in your journal, you take some time to meditate on what we talked about, I really want you to have conversation with God and really just kind of go into a spirit of thanks and gratitude about him keeping you and providing for you when at times when you didn't even think that you were going to make it. Thank him for providing over and above when sometimes, you know, we just had to admit like we didn't deserve it. And really relish in that, right? Relish in the fact that you have provision, that God has provided since the beginning of the foundations of the world, that he has provided for you, that when there's the example, and I think it's in, I want to say it's in Deuteronomy, where, and I think I use this as an example somewhere else, I can't remember, but I know it's in the book, where God says that, you know, I allowed you to go through the wilderness for 40 years, and your shoes did not break. Your shoes did not wear out. And so for some of you, when we talk about provision, if you think about those times where you couldn't get the things that you wanted to get, but God was able to sustain you with what you had, that's provision. And so we want to just be in a season and in a mode and in a mindset of gratitude and thanks that he continues to provide and continues to do what he says he's going to do. And again, it may not be in our time, but it always happens at the right time. So I appreciate y'all for sticking with me for day 9. We will pick up with day 10 tomorrow. And don't forget, we're off over the weekend. So if you have the book, make sure you read days 11 and 12.
Have it back.
Yes, you can have it back. And then, but tomorrow we will pick up with day 10. And day 10 is we are giving thanks for gifts and talents. Gifts and talents. So it just gets juicier and juicier as the days go by. So again, I can't see anything, any hearts or anything. So I'm going to assume that y'all are still here, and I'm going to end before Facebook decides that they want to beat us to the punch. Okay, so I think I'm still seeing some comments here. But I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy this night. I see a couple of hearts popping in. And I will see y'all tomorrow at noon. Y'all have a good night. Bye.